All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome everyone here. My name is Dennis G.
And I'm Neon Fawkes.
And you are here listening to Artist Spotlight. This evening, we are very pleased to have a very special guest with us. His name is Jeff, but you might know him as Essenger. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Very, very good. I am absolutely blown away by your album, which is going to be dropping very, very shortly. And man, there is just so many good tracks on that bad boy.
I've had After Dark on repeat for quite a while now.
Really appreciate that. Glad you're liking the tracks.
It's really, really good. And in fact, the crazy thing is you just kind of came out of nowhere, it seemed. I mean, obviously, it seems like you've been around for a while. You've been making music, I'm sure, for a while. There's no way that you just turned on a computer last year and said, I'm going to make some music.
Yeah, I've been probably producing about 12 years now, maybe professionally about 9 or 10.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds about that. Yeah, it definitely have a very seasoned flavor, a very good quality produced sound, which is, again, just blowing me away. I really love the direction of the album. It's just dirty, it's gritty, it's got that EDM-y quality, but it's still, to me, it still stays in that wonderful synthwave universe that we all like to play in. So you started off doing music, I guess, with different labels under like a different genre, or did you just kind of been doing your thing all along and we just kind of found you as a community?
I kind of had another project that I started in 2012 that I don't really like to talk about. It was kind of mediocre, but it's not really what I wanted to do as an artist. But it definitely helped me all those years of producing and doing vocals to get where I am now, so it wasn't for nothing.
So when you started off, did you do vocal tracks, or was it just kind of you noodling around and making different sounds?
It was all vocal stuff, mostly. I have maybe 6 different aliases over that time, just a bunch of different styles I experimented with. But a lot of it was kind of making stuff that I thought people wanted to hear. It wasn't really me.
It just seems like, you're like a really good singer, because it's like when you're actually singing with your real voice, I mean, you have a very good sounding voice. So, I mean, I assume you've been doing it all along. So you're more or less a singer and performer, right?
Oh, I'm glad you think that. I remember when I started out, I hated my voice. Like, it was just not something I was proud of. And I guess over just trying different styles over the years, I kind of got to a point where I found something that I like. Yeah, over like the last few years, I kind of started messing around with vocoder, and it just ended up turning into kind of a staple of my current music.
I like the way your vocoding is, I don't know, what's the best way to say it? It's silky smooth.
I've been using Ableton stock vocoder since I started, and I actually have a tutorial on it on my YouTube channel, how I do all the stuff on After Dark.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I put it up a couple weeks ago. A lot of people had requested it.
I'm tuning into that. Very good. So you've been doing this for about 10 to 12 years. What kind of really got you into music? Like, where did you initially start off? Like, when you were at the point where you're like, all right, I'm going to just start making some music. I mean, everyone kind of has that crossroad when they're just like, okay, I'm going to just jump down into the rabbit hole. What was the real defining moment that really kind of put you on that journey?
Well, my parents have always been musicians, and obviously there'd be a lot of musical instruments in the house, and I just kind of started picking stuff up. And my parents tried to push me into like piano lessons and stuff, and I never practiced, so I kind of just ended up learning on my own, just messing around with different styles.
So what are your like favorite tools? What do you like to use? You mentioned Ableton, right? And the stock vocoder.
As far as software?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do use a lot of vocoder. My go-to synth is Diva. It's a really good kind of retro emulator. It gives a really good impression of like some of those older analog synths. I use Serum a bit.
It seems like you kind of mix it up a lot on the album. It seems like you'll do one particular style and then you'll kind of do something different. So is it just like experimentation, trying to get different sounds out of your voice?
That's kind of my curse. I always want to do a bunch of different genres, and I kind of try to limit that more because that was one of the things that threw me off earlier in my career is I would try to do all sorts of genres just on one album, and there was no way to market it. With this album, I kind of tried to blend as much as I could into just one sort of style. It's like I want to do like EDM, like drum and bass stuff, and singer-songwriter stuff, but kind of at the heart, I really love the synthwave genre, and I kind of keep that at a core of most of the stuff that I do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of play around in that universe, which is great, but you definitely also have that EDM, that drum and bass, all that stuff just kind of just flows in and out into each song, and I guess you're kind of a cross, really. It seems like you're more of like a cross between EDM, marries synthwave, and kind of had like a little like I hear some progressive rock in there too, some different rock elements, and maybe that's part of
I've really been into that lately too. I might kind of go more in that direction a bit for some of my newer stuff. I feel like the vocals kind of tie everything together.
Yeah, absolutely. You did a few collabs now, I know. The one to me kind of stands out as being the most rockish sounding song would be, I guess, Lost Boys, and you did that with...
That is with a local band called Young Medicine. They've been my good friends for a very long time. They're the reason I moved to KC. And that, believe it or not, the track has been in the works for almost a year and a half now. It kind of started as an idea. We're like, we want to do a collaboration. It's been a very long awaited thing. And in like October of last year, we were like planning to release it in November, and we had barely started on it. We're like, we want to do a big budget music video for this and do all this stuff on it. And it just kind of got dragged out for so long. And that was kind of the track that like made me want to start doing this album. I kind of started basing it around that sound, and now it's finally done, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. But yeah, that track, I kind of started doing some synth stuff, an intro, and then Young Medicine comes in with their chorus vocals, and it's all live instrumentation. They did real drums. It's all real guitar.
Really?
Yeah, their drummer Michael played that all live. They do all the vocals in the chorus.
That's really hard to do. I've just noticed just from hearing a lot of live bands trying to implement the synthwave sound, it's actually a very hard thing to do because the drums really, to me, like I listened to that track and I would have never guessed that you used real drums. That sounds almost like an anti-compliment.
I mean, it could be. Like, mostly in the past, in all my stuff, I kind of put digital drums or samples, and I can make it sound real, but I've done mixing for other bands and stuff, but this is probably the biggest challenge so far. I'm glad the mix turned out all right.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough because synthwave has a particular type of sound, and I know that you're not really trying to specifically sound quote-unquote synthwave because, again, what the hell is synthwave even anyway?
Right. It's definitely like a core element of the sound. It's hard to mix cymbals into a mix, especially live, because it's got all those high frequencies and it covers up the electronics. If it weren't for that, I would probably have a live drummer, but it's kind of a bit of a challenge.
It's got to be, especially as a producer, just to kind of trim and shave those sounds to make it fit.
Yeah, you don't want it too like digital sounding. You still want it to have that organic feel.
Yeah, but you do great though.
So you signed on with Fixed last year, right?
Yeah, a couple months ago. My friend Landon, who's kind of been working with them, recommended them to me, and he's like, hey, I know this guy over at the label. You should check them out. He said he pitched me to them a while ago, and we never really heard back, but I was talking with Preston. I don't know if you know Iron Skull. He runs a lot of the synthwave playlists.
We've heard of
him. And yeah, he hit me up, and he's like, yo, I'm the new A&R for Fixed. I want to see if you'd be interested in joining the roster. And I was like, I got this album coming out, and I was like, I don't really know if I want to be on a label right now. But then we realized that they could release my album. I thought it was too late. And I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. This is definitely the type of support I'd want behind this.
Now that you're with Fixed, when are you going to do a collaboration with Megan McDuffie?
I knew it.
I have heard some of her stuff. I do like it. I guess only time will tell. I'm kind of slowing down on the collaborations a bit, I think, just kind of to focus on some of my solo stuff. Who knows? I've got a lot of people I've been talking to about collabs.
No, it sounds great. I mean, your collaborations sound very, very excellent. You did a really great duet with Lexi, I guess her name is Lexi Norton.
Yeah, she's one half of Echoes, an indie sort of electronic band with the label Seeking Blue, and we've been friends for a bit. And it was kind of interesting how that track turned out. So I had this track Downfall, and I had written most of it, and I'm like, I really want to get a female vocal verse on there. So I wrote the verse, and I recorded myself on it, and I pitched it up an octave, and I ended up sending it over to Lucas James at Seeking Blue, see if they might be interested in it. And he's like, "This sounds like Lexi. Is this her?" And I'm like, no, but she would be perfect for this track because she kind of sounds a little bit like me, and it would be a perfect fit. And he's like, I'm her manager, right? And I'm like, what? And he's like, I can hook that up. And he shoots a message over to her, and she's like, yeah, let's do it. And she ended up writing a really pretty bridge for it, and I'm super happy with how it turned out.
It's a beautiful song. We ended up playing that on the last season of the State of Synth, and I didn't even realize that we played it because when I first heard the song, which we'll get into as well, which was Off-World, I'm like, this Essenger sounds really amazing. And then I started looking through my notes, and I'm like, we played Essenger last season, and I was like, no kidding. And,
yes, we did.
and I was like, oh man, it's amazing. There's so many great tunes out there, but there's just like specific rising artists, and you just seem to be just right in the zone right now. I mean, you're making such great songs. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and just drop a tune for you here. Now we're going to go ahead and play Downfall. This is featuring Lexi Norton, and we're just going to go ahead and drop it right here, right now.
See the signs, thought I'd found a way out. You caught me with those eyes, I'm thinking I should leave now. A couple words won't hurt, so what you doing downtown? Tell me how you've been, and now my head won't slow down. I shouldn't stay, but can't help but wonder. I hate the way that you pull me under. I know I've made mistakes, but this could be my downfall. You could be my downfall. You could be my downfall.
Didn't mean to stare, couldn't help but notice. A part of me still cares, but it's over and you know this. I shouldn't feel this way, you're fucking with my head now. Can't help
You can be my downfall.
Don't try to tell me this is nothing. Say it with your hands on my face. Don't try to tell me this is nothing. I can count the reasons with my eyes closed. Calling out your name. I find a reason with my eyes closed. You can be my downfall.
I shouldn't stay, but can't help but wonder. I hate the way that you pull me under. I know I've made mistakes, but this could be my downfall. You could be my downfall.
And that was Downfall featuring Lexi Norton.
Awesome.
That's an amazing tune, man.
Oh,
What
yeah.
do you think about that?
I jumped onto the YouTube premiere as soon as it dropped.
Off-World, which we're gonna get into that. Let's dive right into that, because honestly, I think that's one of my favorite songs. I have about 3 favorite songs on the album, and then really everything is just really good as well. But you also did the track which you just debuted a little while ago. It was Off-World. Now that's featuring Pilot. Now, how did you get hooked up with Pilot?
So supposedly no one really knows who Pilot is. He keeps his alias anonymous. I was like,
He's
I
a
really
mystery.
like this guy's stuff. I don't know how I'm going to go about this, but he did have an email on his website. So I just kind of was like, hey, why not give it a shot? I sent an email over to him and he liked my stuff and he's like, yeah, let's do something. It took a little while to coordinate it, but I sent a little synth loop over to him. I had no idea what to do with it. And he brought back something really amazing, sent me the stems, and I just kind of mixed them and threw some vocoder hooks over it. He did the drums and bass, and I did the synths and vocoder.
Now that's what I was going to ask, the breakdown on that particular track, because you guys have a very similar style, and I know Pilot also does vocoder on his tracks as well. I couldn't tell if that was Pilot or if that was you. I mean, you guys just seem
Yeah,
to...
a lot of people have thought it was Pilot.
Yeah, you're so seamless in what you do.
He's
And-
kind of got that classic, sort of a funky sound. You can definitely tell on the bass line. I love what he did with that,
Oh, absolutely.
especially towards the end.
That break, that little break. What is the words that they say? It's something about...
Oh, in the breakdown,
It's in the refrain, yeah. Yeah. What is it that they say?
can't undo this.
Can't undo this. Okay. It's tough to get words sometimes with the vocalizer.
Yeah, I put out my lyrics up just in case.
Oh, nice. Do you put that on your Bandcamp?
It's on the Genius website, kind of the most popular lyric website right now.
I
I
love
probably should
Genius.
put them on Bandcamp though.
Yeah. Genius is great too. I go there all the time. It's a really good resource.
Yeah, the thing with Genius is like sometimes random people will come in and think they know stuff about the song, and they'll be like, "Oh, this means this," and they'll put like random footnotes in that
Yeah.
aren't what the song actually means, and there's like no way to get rid of them. You have to like contact a moderator or something like, "This isn't what this is," or they'll like change a lyric that I put up that's not correct.
Right. You're like, no, this is wrong. How do you know? I wrote the damn song.
Right? Except there was one time where there was a song that I had written a certain lyric and somebody changed it to something that they thought it sounded like one word or something. I'm like, I like this better. So I just left it.
Speaking of meanings of songs, like when you're writing a song, are you looking to kind of tell any type of linear story, any type of universe that is kind of shared amongst all the songs? Or are you just kind of just going on a feel, like on a vibe, like this just feels good as far as, you know, what I want to write? Or is it something a little deeper than that?
Well, it's kind of something that sort of evolved. We kind of have to take it back to the beginning. I had taken like a hiatus from music. Just I was going through a lot of stuff personally. It was about 2 years that I just didn't really do anything. And then just I went through a lot of shit in like 2017. And that kind of spawned the beginning of what became Essenger. I just kind of started writing really personal songs about different experiences that kind of helped me kind of vent and get my feelings out. And that just kind of became the core of the new project, where it's just every song is somewhat personal to me, kind of tells a story, and kind of progressively it just sort of follows my journey of where I'm at. But it's kind of evolved into its own thing where the music and everything blends together, and I just kind of tell whatever I want. Like this new album definitely follows somewhat of a linear story that does relate to me, but it definitely has started to sort of evolve into its own universe unintentionally. Sort of some characters that recur, like in the music videos. I want to start doing music videos that tie together in sort of a story, you know, have a little bit of lore behind it. It wasn't really something that I thought would happen, but it just sort of evolved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting universe. It's a very interesting kind of feel to it. But one of the things that really stood out to me was the lyrics, like you said, are very personal to you. I really haven't heard many synthwave, cyberpunk type of songs that have these deeply personal sounding lyrics. This is almost like cyberpunk with emotion. It was really something that just kind of grabbed me. And the fact that you are saying that a lot of it does come from a place that's kind of like your expression and your feeling. I mean, that's just really great how you can kind of put that and wrap this entire cyberpunk universe around it. And to me, that's what makes music real, is when you have that emotion and that aesthetic and that vibe, and you can kind of like have a core of a feeling, and that's what music's all about. I mean, it's
The sounds have like a melancholic feel to them.
Yeah, that's sort of something that I've always incorporated. Like all my stuff started out kind of really sad and melancholy and very emotional. And while I do want to keep that, not necessarily like sad, but kind of that emotional feel, I like to bring that to kind of a different place, have that evolve. And I've always been really into like cyberpunk, and I'm like, I didn't really think there was a way that I could incorporate that into my music. Like I started off making like future garage with my first couple songs, and I'm like, I like doing this, but it's not necessarily what I want to do. Like I'd really loved synthwave for the last like 4 years before that, and I'm like, I think that's really when I want to start putting into the music. So I did this track called Eyes Closed, which is still one of my favorite tracks I've done, and I just started blending it from there.
So we were talking about Off-World. Now before we go any further, we just got to drop this wonderful track here.
So this is Essenger and Pilot with Off-World.
From the damage, every entranceway destroyed, floating empty in the void, far enough to vanish. Will I find a place to start, or will I sink into the dark?
And that was Offworld by Essenger and Pilot.
Ah, I love that tune, man. I tell you, when I first saw it on the 80s guy, I was like, this is just amazing. Like, this is like the type of music I'm into. Like, you're like checking all the boxes. You got vocals, you got this just badass cyberpunk universe kind of sound. You got Pilot, which he's just phenomenal. His drumming and his musical structure, like, I love digging into his entire library. It's just great.
Oh yeah, I listen to stuff all the time.
Yeah,
I'm glad people like this stuff because I tend to see people prefer non-vocal instrumental synthwave a lot.
Eh.
You know what? I think it's 50-50 in the scene.
But it's also
I
cool
think
because
so.
a lot of synthwave artists will release instrumental versions of their songs, which I'm planning to do with the album eventually.
Sweet.
So they have that option.
I know there's some playlisters like Patrick Spence. His playlist, he prefers non-vocals on his. So, I mean, there's some great synthwave tracks out there, plenty of synthwave tracks with vocals, right? But they don't make it onto a playlist like that. So, yeah, releasing instrumentals can't hurt.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about music production. Do you have any particular tools, like your go-to tools? Now, you discussed some of the stuff that you used for your vocals and everything like that. Is there any particular type of like synth or keyboard or patch, or I don't even know terminology, but like when you're trying to just like lay down a new song, what is it that you're going to fire up? What sample, what kind of production sound are you going to be diving into first?
Usually I'll just jump right into Ableton, open up Diva, and just start playing a synth loop, and I'll mess with that, add some chords underneath it, and that's usually how most songs starts. Sometimes I'll lay down like an atmosphere type sound and just start layering sounds over top of that, and it'll start that way. I don't usually work from the ground up, like I won't put a drum loop down and start looping that. I'll just straight go from the beginning, I'll get the intro done, I'll mix the intro till it's completely done, and then I'll move on to the next section, which a lot of people think that's a really weird way of working, but I don't know. Like, I'll even write the verse, I'll record the vocals, mix the vocals, that's done, I'll move on to the next part. It's really fun because it's kind of a mystery, like I don't know how the track's going to turn out until the very end.
That is interesting. Most people just kind of like, they start with a riff and they'll just like throw that down, and they'll throw down like bits and pieces that are kind of out of order, and eventually just things.
Yeah. It's hard to work that way for me, kind of. There's kind of a signature sound that I've been using a lot. I'll take a saw wave and I will put that through a guitar amp, and I've got that guitar lead that you hear in a lot of those tracks that I do solos on, which
I'm
is also
taking
really
notes
fun
here.
to...
Wait, hang on. I'm taking notes here.
How to produce an awesome album.
How to make music.
But it's really fun to play live. Like, I do that all on the keyboard.
Do you play live? I guess that's
Yes, I do.
Answer is yes, right?
It's kind of something I've been building for a while. I was planning on doing a release show for the album, but I just didn't really have the budget and the tools to make it what I wanted. So I've been kind of holding off on that because I do a lot of light production.
Yeah,
And,
you know what? I was just
like
about to say,
stuff synced up.
lights synced up with the music, especially if it's electronic music, right?
Yeah, especially if you're one person. It's like you don't have
Yeah,
other people
exactly.
on the stage, so you want something that'll kind of catch people's eye. And that's one thing that I really have a love for is like DMX programming. Like most bands will hire someone to do that for them, but I wouldn't really have it any other way. I just love being in control of every detail and every little sound kind of turned into the lights there.
One of our favorite bands, Von Kaiser from Grand Rapids, those guys, I've had the fortune to see them live. They bought these nanoleaf lights, which for home, right? Smart panel
Oh yeah,
lights, and they got the DMX adapter for it. So
I didn't
they
know you
run
had
that.
those.
Yeah, I think
No, that was
they
a
don't sell
thing.
them off like Best Buy, but you can order straight from the company the DMX adapter.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so they created these panels behind them on the stage, and it just it's just awesome.
Yeah, I eventually might want to do like visuals and stuff.
That's the
Like-
key. I mean, you get the aesthetic and the music.
Carpenter Brute, he's always got visuals behind him.
Oh, that's crazy. I've seen him play live. Whew. They got slasher movies in the back, like with the blood splattering all over the
Oh
place.
yeah, but it's Carpenter Brute. I don't
Yeah,
feel like
it's
they
awesome.
can go over the top, really.
Absolutely. Indeed. All right. So we're going to dig back into the music here. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my favorite track on the album. I had a little bit of a hard time pronouncing this, but you kind of helped me along. And let me see if I got it right. Exopolitan?
Exopolitan.
Damn it.
It's not really a word. You can't look it up.
It's like metropolitan, but exo.
Exo is like X, like no longer kind of a prefix, and then politan, like relating to the city.
Oh,
So
nice.
we have our character like leaving the city in this song.
Okay. All right. I see where that's going now. So you do kind of mix in a little bit of a story into your music. That's
And that one
great.
leads into off-world, kind of. That's like we're going off the grid, kind of into the unknown, having left everything behind.
Nice. I like that vibe. So you're leaving the city is gone. You got some really freaking amazing drums on this track. Now, is this live? This is programmed drums, right, I guess?
Yeah, those were all programmed. I just wanted to do something weird for that song. Like, doing EDM definitely helped me, like, refine my sound design. Like, I used to do a lot of just weird noises. I would sit down and, like, what's the weirdest thing I could come up with? It's almost like After Dark on crack or something.
That's a good description.
How many weird things and like just tangents can I go into on this and just still have it sound coherent, like glued together as a song? Like the drop sort of has some like acid type bass lines, and then like the kind of Skrillex style lasers, and then the weird vocoder like crumbly synth sounds.
It's like ear candy. Like you could just gobble it up and like become a diabetic. It's so
Yeah, as they call it, producer porn.
It is. It really
yep.
is. I'm not even a producer, but it's definitely working its magic. With my ears, at least, I love that crackling, that lasery. It's like pure crack. It really is.
Yeah, I just kind of went crazy with the grain delay, which is like one of my favorite effects. I don't really use it enough, and I was like, what can I do with this?
You're just like, I just want to mess up a track really bad, and but
Yeah.
breaking rules is great. That's what making music's all about. Just making rules and breaking them.
I kind of started going crazy at the end. I had those like little D&B breaks that come in and out.
Tell me a little bit more about the vocals.
Yeah, so this was kind of different. After doing After Dark, I had sort of experimented with the monophonic vocoder, where it's kind of interesting. I started singing the lines for this track, and because I could control the melody with the synth, the carrier, the vocoder, the melody ended up being different from what I sang originally. But I just kind of wanted this sort of raw feel, and I kind of have like strategic sort of glitch sounds and different effects based on the lyrics, just kind of to evoke a certain emotion. I feel like maybe at times it could be a little bit jarring, but that sort of relates to the song.
Yeah, it's very emotional. The lyrics I've kind of noticed, of course, as a common thread with all your music, but this one I kind of noted in particular. Very real, raw, emotional lyrics, which again is just amazing to hear on this type of an album. Just really humanizes the whole experience. But I tell you what, let's just go ahead and just drop it here. Now, I believe this is probably going to be the first time anybody's really heard this song, because I'm not even sure if it's out yet. But we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to sneak this one into the cut. So yeah, let's just drop this and let the listeners hear this magic. This is Exopolitan right here on Artist Spotlights.
Just wanna feel again. Don't call me, I'm not the same. I'm hopeless, you know this. It's too late to save me now. I'm nothing, I'm dead inside. It all before. Can't fake this anymore. These memories leave me torn. So forget my name and let me go. wasted, compiled under cold fluorescent lights. Unbind me, or let me decay. Hypnosis, narcosis, a slave to a simulation. Replace me, we're all the same. I've seen it all before. Can't fake this anymore. These memories leave me torn. So forget my name. Let me go.
And once again, that was Exopolitan. That is just such an amazing track. I really love, really everything about it. To me, that's like my favorite on the album. And you know what? People might scream at me and say, it's not synthwave. And you know what? It's whatever I want it to be.
I mean, I definitely do have some influences from that, like some of the drums and sort of bass lines. But, in the end, it is what it is.
Yeah, synthwave is whatever you want it to be, folks. That's my take. And to me, this is playing in that universe that I love to play with.
The official videos, right? Like for After Dark and such, they've got all kinds of little Easter eggs up on the buildings.
Do we need to pause that and watch it? I'm just kidding.
We should. We should have like a little, or what is it, director's commentary?
Director's commentary.
Kansas City Easter eggs in the video. That'd be great.
There's a bunch of references to all the artists who show up on the album in the video itself.
Oh, nice. That's always fun.
Like Lexi Norton and such?
I don't know if we have a reference to her, but there's a scene in the alleyway where there's like some graffiti of a Pilot's logo.
Nice.
And then there's like a billboard with a Young Medicine playing on it. You can't really tell that well, but you can catch it if you look close enough. And then there's like a billboard with some of the other Fix artists, including Scandroid.
Like Prism. I know Prism pops up there.
They're great.
Yeah, they are great. I've really been digging their stuff lately.
Oh yeah, there's the Pilot logo in the alley.
I just want to do stuff that no one's done before.
Yeah, I feel like you have, some people might listen to the album and say, well, it sounds a little bit commercial, but I don't hear that in your sound at all. I hear kind of like a mixture of a lot of commercial elements.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a commercial at its core.
No, really. No, definitely not.
Pop music it's pop music because it's popular and,
people like it for a reason.
I know a lot of people who are like, I hate pop music, but like, I don't know.
Some
people
people
like they're just being like they want to go against the grain or something.
Exactly.
There's some Katy Perry songs that I would just like put on loop. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, well, I put Katy Perry on loop.
That dark. Yeah.
I love like Carly Rae Jepsen stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Her singing's like crack.
Her recent stuff has been like almost kind of oriented towards kind of the synthwave stuff as well as
absolutely.
A lot of other artists have been doing that lately.
Hey, everyone likes a different thing, and I'm not the type of guy that'll be like, oh, that's popular, I don't like it. I'm just not gonna.
Everyone's like, I like everything besides country and rap.
I love country and rap and mixed country rap.
Oh, I like plenty of country music. Even some of the stuff that comes on like country pop radio, it's like a lot of that stuff has really good hooks. I'm not gonna deny it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
I love a good hook.
Absolutely. Before we talk about this last song, I want to just jump in. I want to find a little bit about where does the name Essenger come from? That's my biggest question.
That's kind of a tough question. I had this alias before, and it was kind of one of the projects I was doing before. And like every year I would be like, I hate this name. I got to change it. And like every 6 months I would have this crisis or like I wouldn't be able to come up with anything better. And I'm like, okay, whatever, it's sticking. But it was kind of at the end of the 2-year hiatus that I ended up starting this. And I'll kind of leave it a mystery to people. You could say it can mean whatever you want it to mean.
You got to spill the beans on this show. You got to tell us all your deep down dirty secrets.
It's
all right.
As far as like, I guess the aesthetic of the word, it was a couple words that I just really like, that they sound nice to me. I think it was the words essence and messenger. I just like kind of how they roll off the tongue. And I think to create the name, I kind of combined the two. But I've told different stories on what it means to pretty much everyone who's asked. So
you just make up a different story each time. That's fair.
He was a messenger, but he hates the letter M.
That's true. I like it though. It rolls off the tongue. It really does. It's fun to say.
Now I just have to beat the Google search algorithm. Look up any song of mine, it'll be, did you mean Messenger? Messenger After Dark. You look up After Dark and it says Messenger Dark Mode.
I go to YouTube, I type in Essenger, and I'm looking at it because I was looking for your channel. I'm typing Essenger, and all I'm getting back are like videos with Messenger.
Yep, that sounds about right.
You got Facebook Essenger, you've got Google Essages, and
never heard that one before.
Google Essages. I love it. We're going to go ahead and dive into our last track that we're going to feature here tonight. Now, I know you have 10 tracks. They're all fantastic, and obviously we definitely encourage everyone to pick up this album. You're going to love it. But we're going to dive into the last song we are going to feature. Let's dive into that Scandroid because everyone
Empire
loves
Steel.
Everyone loves Scandroid. Everyone loves a good collab. I think it's a great one to finish on. Now, obviously, I know we spoke a little while ago about working with Scandroid. What was collaborating with him like?
Well, this is a very interesting track. I had an album due date when all these tracks were supposed to be in, and it was like 3 days away from that date. And I was like, I'm gonna start working on something. So I came up with this song, Empire of Steel, in about 12 hours. And I was just super happy with it. I'm like, this might actually make the album if I can finish this on time. And the chorus had like this really strong rock chorus, but it just didn't quite fit my vocal style. And I was like, I know who'd sound good on this. I'll pretend I didn't write it with Scandroid in mind the whole time. Because I didn't really think it was something that was going to happen. But I hit up James, a label rep, and I was like, yo, I got this track. I want to see if Clayton might want to sing on it. And he's like, man, we're running short on time. Clayton's probably got a lot going on, but I can send it to him. And he sent it over, and Clayton loved it. He's like, yeah, sure.
Wow.
And he sent it back with this killer vocals. I couldn't have asked for more. He even he wrote his own verse, and of course his signature vocoder stuff he does with Scandroid, and everything was perfect. I love how it turned out. It's kind of a follow-up to Exopolitan lyrically. Kind of we're coming back to the same city.
Are you trading vocals with him?
Yeah,
or is that all Scandroid?
I do the verse vocals, and I have him on the chorus, and then he does a verse towards the middle.
I see. Now, is that you doing the guitar? Do you do all the guitar work on the album? Did you have any guest guitarist, or is that all you?
Yeah, I do. Except the Lost Boys one with Young Medicine, where they do, Josh, their guitarist, does all that. Most of it.
It's excellent stuff. It really is. So I tell you what, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and just drop this debut. This is Empire of Steel right here with Scandroid. You are listening to Artist Spotlight here on Night Ride FM.
Counting down the days, the future feels so distant. A lot of things have changed, and few have been resistant. Devaluation reigns, and fear of self-destruction. Adapt to be replaced, and follow their instructions. So lay waste to all we made for your corporate palisade. You won't automate our roles if we digitize our souls. Under force will intervene, half human, half machine, and no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. Recoded, we'll reboot. An uprising is moving, and the power you misused will soon be your undoing. We'll give you what you need, though not quite what you were meaning, and we'll reap what you have sown. We are the result of this new machine. So lay waste to all we made for your corporate palisade. You won't automate our roles if we digitize our souls. Under force will intervene, half human, half machine, and no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. To your empire of To your empire of steel. To your empire. So lay waste to all we made for your corporate palisade. You won't automate our roles if we digitize our souls. Under force will intervene, half human, half machine, and no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. To your empire of steel. To your empire of steel.
And once again, that was Empire of Steel. If anything, that is the most badass name. Who thought of the name Empire of Steel? I guess that was you, right?
It was a really easy title. It just kind of encapsulates the whole song. So basically the song kind of follows our return to that same city from Exopolitan to find that kind of the elite megacorps have taken over the city, forcing everyone into submission with AI, replacing everyone's jobs. And the song kind of follows us merging with AI to defeat them.
Wow. That's pretty deep. So when's the comic coming out?
We'll see about that. That actually is a really fun idea.
I would love
It'd
that.
be something cool to kind of incorporate into the universe. There's plenty of media that I would love to do, but don't necessarily have the budget at the time. But I would definitely love to expand on the universe and everything.
Jules already has the pre-order in. Well, I tell you what, I really do thank you for coming on the show. I can't wait for the listeners to listen to this album. It's just great. Now, where can they order this album if they are feeling so inclined to drop you some dough on that?
You could definitely pick it up on Bandcamp on the Fix Neon website. I do have cassettes of the album along with a bunch of new merch packages, so you can check that out on fixneon.com.
There you go. I tell you what, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and drop this track right here. This is After Dark. Once again, you are listening to Artist Spotlight with Dennis G and Jules.
Neon Fawkes, yeah.
Neon Fawkes and Essenger. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.
City fog, somewhere in those lights, you're on your phone. I should have known. Saw you cold, wonder why you try. I'm still alone. You're on your own. Disconnected, don't know why we fell apart. The feeling sets in, but only after dark. But only after dark. Only after dark. Only after dark. Only after dark. Hollow shell, look me in the eyes and see I'm numb. I've come undone. Let me go. I'm sorry that I can't be what you want. My heart is gone. Disconnected, don't know why we fell apart. The feeling sets in, but only after dark.